Good afternoon. Welcome to this City Council meeting of City Council as a whole meeting. We're gonna be talking about a topic that has to do with after school and programs. I'm making sure we're having this type of conversation as a City Council as a whole. That way we avoid the possibility of violation of the meeting law, and plus gives the opportunity to every council member that wants to be part of the conversation to join us. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Matos.
Present.
Councilwoman Anthony.
Present.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Present.
Councilman Correa is absent. Councilman Espinal.
Present.
Councilwoman Harris is absent. Councilman Igliozzi is absent. Councilwoman Kerwin.
Present.
Councilwoman LaFortune.
Present.
Councilwoman Miller is absent. Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan is absent. Councilman Salvatore is absent. Councilman Taylor
Here.
is present. Let me just double check and make sure we don't have anybody waiting to get in that maybe had joined as a guest.
For sure. Outside of
So 5, 6.
Sean, I think that Colleen should be. I did send it to her.
Yes, I just let her in. So
Awesome.
it looks like we have 7 present and 6 absent. No, hold on. Yes, 7 present and 7 absent. You do not have a quorum at this moment. Via information only.
Thank you. With that, let's go to the Solicitor, Jeff Dana, so he can give us his opinion about both things. The legality of having this meeting this way electronically. Actually, Kevin, I thought you said Jeff, okay?
We tricked you. Madam President, we tricked you.
Yes, you did.
Jeff will be joining the full council meeting. He asked that I sit in his stead until that time. But Madam President, due to the governor's executive order suspending open meetings, this meeting is perfectly within the guidelines in the executive order to be conducted due to the suspension of the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you, Ken. And the other question that I want you to put on the record is that we don't have a quorum of this meeting, but we don't need a quorum because this is an information meeting. Can you just...
That is correct, Madam President. The meeting can proceed as informational only with no voting, just a regular meeting with the 7 individuals, council members that are present.
Thank you. With that, I just want to present the excuses from Councilman Narducci and Councilwoman Harris. They really wanted to be part of this conversation, but unfortunately they're running into some personal issues. That's why they're not joining us right now. As well, I heard from Leader Ryan. She's trying to join us, but she's in the middle of another conversation right now, another meeting for work, and she's trying to be part of this conversation as soon as she's able to. Okay? Thank you. With that, Mr. Clerk, can you please read the items into the record? You're muted.
Thank you, Council President. Item 1, discussion relative to youth summer programming. The following have been invited: Diana Perdomo, Chief of Policy, City of Providence, and Hillary Salmons, Executive Director, PASA, Providence After School Alliance.
Okay. Thank you. So I just want to, as an information to the rest of the council members, I had a conversation with Hillary, and she was telling me about all the work that they're doing and how they're planning on addressing the challenges right now that we're faced with the COVID-19 and how the work can continue. I thought that this was an important conversation to have with the rest of the council members, so that's why we're having this meeting. I just want to remind everyone that we have a city council meeting scheduled for 5:30. So trying to, hopefully we're able to have a good conversation. If we need to continue this for another day, we may have to do that. But I just want to remind everyone. With that, Hillary and Diana, I don't know if you guys have talked about how you want to start the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Council President and councilors, for having us today. Very much so appreciate the opportunity to share with you all what the city is doing for summer. Sean, as I mentioned, I shared a PowerPoint PDF style that I think we would run through, and this actually includes a portion dedicated to our partners to talk more about their work as well. So once you pull that up, Sean, I'll get started, and I'm going to hand it off to each respective office based on their level of oversight over this work. So Sean, how do I?
So I'm happy to hand off control to you right now, Diana, and if you need it handed to someone else, then we can do that. So you should be able to control it. You should see a notification that you can accept control of the screen on your screen right now. Do you see that?
It just says you can control Sean Selleck's screen.
Yes.
I don't have control.
Yep, now
I
you
do.
have.
All right. Thank you for giving me. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so today we're going to go over summer 2020 plans. We have a whole host of people here today representing parks, recreation, Office of Economic Opportunity, the Policy Office, and our program partners that we've been working with on this new model. So, Sean, you can do that?
I was gonna try to make it so that it's the right, size.
Maybe smaller? Yeah, that's fine.
I guess that looks
Okay.
good.
Thank you. So the overview of programs, we're going to start with the Office of Economic Opportunity Summer Jobs Program. We're going to go into the Providence Public School District and City of Providence Summer Learning Program, our Providence Rec Center day camps and specialty camps, the Parks Department programming, and also this partnership between PASA, our rec centers, PCL, and PVD Young Makers. Before going into that, I just want to clarify that the programming that we're putting in front of you is actually for summer 2020, actually comes out of the FY 2021, budget. So the items that the council is currently reviewing for the next coming year's budget, that encompasses this programming. I'm going to hand it off to Colleen Fonseca, who oversees the Office of Economic Opportunity and Workforce Solutions, to talk about this program. Colleen, can you take over?
Great. Thank you so much, Diana, and thank you so much to all the members of the council for taking the time to take part in this meeting, and we really appreciate all your time. So to talk a little bit about the Office of Economic Opportunity Summer Jobs Program. So this is a program that we've been offering since 2017 in the city of Providence to provide young people with experiences that will prepare them for private employment after they're completing high school. So really this program was actually started as a result of some concern amongst the employer community in particular around the workforce in the city of Providence. And so this program was actually created to target young people that are still in high school to prepare them for college or higher education, training, apprenticeships, and any other employment opportunities that could await them. So this summer, we are still running the Summer Jobs Program. We will be offering it 100% digitally and online in an effort to really ensure that our young people and their families are safe during this public health crisis and during this pandemic. So we've actually funded 13 organizations. We've gone to the Board of Contract and Supply and through the request for proposal process have selected 13 organizations to provide 15 different programs. And on this slide, you can see some of the organizations that are partaking in our program. So our programs offer opportunities for young people ages 14 all the way up to 24. And depending on the program that young people are in, they'll get various opportunities. So for example, one opportunity that we have available is with Goodwill Industries, where young people are actually going to be getting kits dropped off to their homes to learn how to actually build computers and hardware and learn how to create a coding and HTML and JavaScript related things so that they can go into employment opportunities in the technology industry. That's an industry that we know that as a result of this crisis, we're really going to need a lot more folks in. And so Goodwill Industries is offering that opportunity to young people. We also have organizations like the Refugee Dream Center that are working with young people that have recently arrived or recently came to the United States on refugee status, that's teaching them how to go into careers to be medical assistants and medical interpreters, and really giving them the skill sets to do that. So that's just a glimpse of some of the programs that we're going to be funding this summer and we're hoping to have in moving forward. So we could probably go to the next slide.
Slower than I want.
So this program is for $2 million for the fiscal year 2020. Our program does start on July 6th is our date for the program to start, and it ends on August 21st. So last year we served upwards of 686 young people, and of the allocation that we received last year, over $610,000 went directly into the pockets of young people. Now that number does not include any money for bus tickets, does not include any money for any supportive services. Those are all the direct wages that went straight into the pockets of young people. So it's really a lot of dollars. It's really pouring into our communities. Every Friday, my team and I would pass out these checks to young people and their families, and they would tell us how grateful that they were that they would be able to have opportunities to gain skills, to be ready for college, to be ready for internship experiences while they're in school, or getting ready for apprenticeships, while at the same time making money and having the opportunity to give back to their families and buy supplies for school or for their trainings that are upcoming. So like I previously said, these programs will be offered 100% online this summer. And we're very much looking forward to being able to offer young people these opportunities upon budget approval.
The next program that we're going to review is the Providence Public School District and the City of Providence Summer Learning Programs. I'm going to preface this slide that actually Jillian Fain will be providing more detail on by saying that we have been having regular conversations with the Providence Public School District about what their intention is for summer and how we can align. And some of those conversations recently between the mayor and the superintendent in particular have been on whether we should offer any in-person programming or not for this summer. Where the decision is still left to be made, the superintendent and the mayor will be reconnecting on tomorrow, we expect, to further this decision. It is our intention at this point, based on those conversations, to really limit any in-person programming. For instance, the district itself has decided at this point to only do in-person for two types of cohorts, essentially, for IEP students and newcomers. And that's going to be a hybrid model of in-person and digital learning. That's only going to serve something around 350 youth in the district, but beyond that, they're not really looking to do anything else in person. So we are coordinating with them on this effort, and as the council members know, we actually split the investment for our summer learning programming between the district and the city. So with that, I'm actually going to pitch it off to Jillian Fain to provide us an overview of this program and where we are going.
Thank you, Diana, and thank you everyone on the council for joining us this afternoon. So as Diana mentioned, this is a pure city partnership with the school district that we work on every year to mitigate our summer learning loss of students. This summer we have awarded 9 different programs for the summer learning. That is actually 8 different partners. So the YMCA will have 2 programs with us. One will be an elementary and one will be a high school. As Diana mentioned, we are really looking to keep everything virtual this summer for students. So we have worked closely with the school department on making these plans all virtual. So our K-5 programs will plan to run remotely, but they'll also offer additional capacity for students that might not want to be completely virtual. So take-home kits. Very specifically, we have a pre-K program. We know how important pre-K readiness is in the city. We're hoping they can partner with some of the other programs in our city, like Providence Talks, to be able to offer things to those pre-K students who are getting ready to enter school in the fall. In addition, all of our middle to high school programs will also run completely remotely, and these providers have already submitted their alternative learning plans for that. And just one I want to highlight that we always highlight here is our College Visions program. We collaborate with the Office of Economic Opportunity to offer stipends to students for this program. So we're really trying to have students not have to make that decision between having a summer job to make money or learning in the summer. So this program will offer opportunities for them to have pre-employment experience, resume writing, all sorts of things that we can expect them to need for the workplace, and they'll be compensated in a stipend for that. So that's right now our city programs for the summer, and I'm happy to share with you what's going on with these as we move forward with them.
I apologize for not noting this at the beginning, but we'll reserve time at the end for questions so we can get through the programs. So you can collect your questions and write them down. We're happy to take time at the end to address that. I want to give this moment to Michael Stevens to review our recreational center day camps and specialty camps.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council President and the members of the council. Me and my team have been working very hard to try to come up with a safe way to have day camps this summer. We know that it's going to be a challenge, but I can tell you that the directors have been really working hard to try to make this happen. We have two sets of plans. We have a plan if we go forward with camps, and we have a plan if we don't have camp. So we have two plans ready to go. One of the things that we're concerned about if we do have day camp, and I'll use Joslyn as for instance, last year they had 78 kids in camp last year, and this year they would only be able to have 26 kids in camp. So we would definitely have a number of probably 500 kids this summer that probably would not be able to go to camp due to the state regulations. And trust me, I understand what's going on out there. I know it's so important for our kids to have some type of programming, but we want to make sure as a recreation department that any program that we run, that we are safe, every kid is safe, every staff is safe, that we're doing it the safe way we can, and making sure that the families are comfortable with whatever decision that we make with the state regulations. We are still working on trying to see a safe way to open up our pools this year. We know our pools probably be open later on in the summer, but we're trying to make sure to get the guidance from the CDC and the State Department to guide us to make sure that we can be able to open up our pools this summer. So them are just the things that we have been working on. And you know, one thing I have to give a lot of credit to is the recreation staff who's really working hard trying to make a summer for our kids to have them have a summer this year. So that's just some of the things that we are working on.
Thank you, Michael. If I can have Christy now go over the Parks Department slide, please.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. So we can start with summer meals. Summer meals is going to run. Our plan with PPSD and Sodexo is to keep 6 of our multi-sites running to respect the families that are not ready to come out yet and still have the convenience of picking up, you know, the meals on Tuesdays and Fridays that will keep them for the week. But then we will be, once the official year ends for school, we will be opening up 26 of our open sites in our parks. And what we plan to do for our in-person programming, since we don't serve the kids that are in registered programs with our Play Core program, we serve those untethered children that aren't on a structured program. So without a roster, there's really no way that we could safely do any in-person programming. So we are partnering with our internal department and other community-based organizations to put together enrichment kits that we will be handing out with the summer meals. And in those enrichment kits, we're really going to use journaling this summer as an engagement tool. And the staff that I'm hiring for our Play Core program, which is normally trained as play facilitators, they're really going to be trained on each one of those kits this year. And what does the follow-up engagement with those kids look like? Because those are the staff that are going to be out in the parks on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, as that constant person that those kids will have communication with. So we want to make sure that they're trained on how to socially distance. And then as far as all the kits go, we are working together with all the community-based organizations. In our internal departments, we're using the casino in Roger Williams Park as our hub to put those kits together based on all the Department of Health sanitation guidelines. So that is the park's plan for the summer right now.
Thank you, Christy. I'm actually going to send this back to Jillian Fain to introduce our program partners in this new model that we are looking at for the summer.
So again, thank you, everyone. This is a program that we are very excited about to start this summer with the city. This is a program that we've decided to bring all of our funded partners together and make one big summer program using all of them. So we'll be working with the Providence Young Makers, the Office of Economic Opportunity, our rec departments, PASA, as well as our libraries. So what's so attractive about this program is that we're going to be able to reach a lot of students, and we're going to be leveraging a lot of our already funded programs to help engage a lot of that middle school age group that we don't always have the opportunity to engage. So this will be a mix of really small group programs, in person, just very essential drop-in action. So this is not a registered camp. This is really just a place for middle school youth to be able to attend our libraries and work on some of the projects that they've already had. So this will be based on a very small in-person sign up ahead of time, reservations, that type of thing. And it would all meet the state requirements. This is the only program we're comfortable running with a drop-in option for students because we have the PPE secured for all of these programs. What I want to do is introduce each one of the people on the call that are part of this so they can kind of give an overview of what their part in this is. So Diana, I'll have you just scroll down to the next slide. And I'm going to start with Rob at PASA. He's going to give us a little overview of what PASA's part is in this.
Thanks, Jillian, and thank you, members of the council, for the time today. So yeah, so PASA, we provide a lot of the staffing and logistical infrastructure for this collaborative effort. So we'll be bringing our after-zone site coordinators who work year-round in the school. They'll be working in this virtual camp. They have those year-round school connections. They've been talking with youth since we went virtual on a a couple times a week. So they're going to be doing the recruiting, the family outreach, making sure young people know that this opportunity is available for them and how to access it. These are really highly trained full-time staff members at PASA who are funded by 21st Century Learning Centers federal funding. So we're bringing them in. We're also providing some additional funding to provide to our partners. Many of them are probably well known to you, like the Roger Williams Park Zoo, Beat the Streets Providence, a group of some local artists we've been talking to, and those folks are going to be able to come in and provide additional virtual programming that young people who take advantage of this collective can also access. So you may, when you're working with PVD Young Makers, you may be able to also work with the Roger Williams Park Zoo a couple times a week, or an artist on a separate project. So we're hoping to bring in the logistical staffing and supports along with some of our traditional after-school providers.
So much, Rob. And I'm going to hand it over to Cheryl. She is with the Providence Community Libraries. She's coordinating on their end. So Cheryl, do you want to share with us some of the work that you'll be doing for this collaborative?
Sure, thank you. And thank you, Council. Thank you, Council President, for your time and for having us today. I'm really excited that Providence Community Library can be a partner in this initiative. We are creating lots of content in partnership with the PVD Young Makers, and also all of our youth services staff are heavily involved. So we are doing a lot of our service this summer outdoors and setting up big tents and having tables for people to distance. So we are happy to host drop-in activities or the community socially distanced and safe, but able to sort of gather in our outdoor spaces. We really want to be that drop-in educational space for summer learning. I'm happy to report that we were able to reallocate some money that the library had for the Every Place Makerspace that was going to be going out to recreation centers. Unfortunately, we can't do that in person. So we are able to allocate $10,000 to pay for 1,200 bags for middle school youth. This is 300, this can serve 300 youth with 4 different bags that will have hands-on materials for projects in 2D design, 3D design, and entrepreneurship, as well as literacy activities that youth can pick up through the libraries each week. We also, so that's part of this partnership. And then I also wanted to mention that we were able to reallocate some funds for in-person programming from the United Way of Rhode Island. So we will actually be purchasing and creating 8,000 bags for K to 5 students that they can also pick up at the library. These are STEAM-based science, technology, engineering, arts, and math activities that youth can do in their neighborhoods, a lot of them outside. There's a food and nutrition one. There's 8 different themes. We can serve 1,000 youth, can each get 8 bags. Each bag will contain a free book that they can keep in their home library, as well as activities, as well as all the materials that they need to complete the activity. In addition, we were able to reallocate $5,000 from the United Way of Rhode Island to increase access to online audiobooks, comic books, graphic novels, and other books for youth, so we can greatly open up that online access for youth in the summer. So I'm really thrilled that we were able to take this grant funding that we had for summer programming and to turn it into and pivot it into this new virtual with also a hands-on component, because, you know, we're libraries, we like to give out a lot of stuff and share it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Cheryl. That was really great. Thanks for sharing all the things that we'll be doing at the library too. I'm going to hand over to Keith. He is with our Providence Young Makers, and he will give us an update on what their role will be in this collaboration.
Thank you, Jillian, Council. Thank you so much for this time. Really do appreciate it. First, let me just say that working with OEO has been absolutely fabulous last summer. And the one thing I want to start with is that this type of program truly changes lives. I watched it happen, and the results are still paying dividends. I could go into 100 stories, but I'm just going to keep it real succinct, is that, you know, this type of funding is helping essential learning. It's helping provide young people some stipend in order to be able to implement our train the trainer model. So we train these youth in order to be peer mentors, to be young teachers, to actually engage with their peers and the younger groups of people as well. We train them on 21st century technology, our makerspace, and more. This year we're taking a really hard look at entrepreneurship, because they need to understand how to invest money. They need to understand the financial literacy basics, as well as the creative aspects that goes into creating something out of nothing, or producing a small business, or really just understanding what an ROI is. So just wanted to say that, you know, this kind of funding to this youth and these programs, you know, is really going to help also when we have to, you know, build economically as well. So I just wanted to say thank you all again for having us here. I'd be happy to answer any questions after this. Thank you.
Thank you again, Keith. So just as Keith mentioned, that is kind of the partnership with OEO as well. They do fund some of the youth workers in our Providence Young Makers program. So as you can see, all of these programs are touching on different areas that the city already funds and really bring the collaboration effort to have everyone work together. So Diana, I'll hand it back to you to facilitate questions.
But could I say a few things? Since I called Sabina and said, you got to know what this group's doing.
I was gonna call on you, Hillary. So yes, go ahead.
Well, you know, you all know me. You can't keep me quiet. So the reality is, I mean, this kind of ticked off because I called City Council President Sabina. It's okay, I call you Sabina, because I was so excited about the collaboration that was taking place in this city. And I think sometimes when you've got budgets and their line items and they're project oriented, it's hard for the City Council to see what an incredible community you have that all has leaned in for the youth of our city. And the fact that the meetings that we're having, I would drop into with Jillian and Keith and Rob and Cheryl, was so inspiring. And then My staff's working with Colleen at OEO to try to figure out how do we have virtual dinners for the young people from the high schools we're working in, to support them, to support the OEO summer youth employment. And then we're also interconnected, figuring out how I fund Save the Bay, Zoo, to come into this virtual city. And you got to know your team, Diana and Jillian, they went to bat to make sure those Chromebooks that you all funded before pandemic, you're amazing, because these kids had Chromebooks. We've been on the phones with them, making sure they're all working. And Jillian and Diana said to the superintendent and to the commissioners, as did I, don't take those Chromebooks back. We're going to need them for the summer for OEO. We're going to need them for these summer programs. So your team is amazing. And that's what I called Sabina to rave about, because I think sometimes you see these line items in chunks. And what you as city council need to know is you have an extraordinary public servants here and an incredible nonprofit community and library network, and everybody's leaning in a big way, along with the recs and the parks providing food, and it's fabulous. And that's why I called Sabina and said, you got to know, this is amazing. You've got a great city, and these youth need us, and we need the youth.
Thank you, Hillary. Diana, you wanted to say something else before I open the floor?
I mean, how do I follow up Hillary?
I am, right, Hillary.
You all.
What an enthusiastic citizen.
All right, so with that, what I'm going to do is I want to remind the council members that we have another regular council meeting at 5:30. But if you guys have any questions, about anything you would like to ask of the team that is here tonight, so please either use the raising hand feature in the in your computer, or wave. You can wave. Hopefully, I can see it. I think Councilman Espinal was saying something earlier. Councilman Espinal, you want to?
Yes, I was just saying to Hillary, what an enthusiastic citizen. God bless her. And also, let me just add that I'm very happy and amazed at the fact that in spite of this pandemic and everything that we're faced with today socially, that each department has managed a way to keep the program, to restructure things and put it together to make sure that our kids are going to be visited this summer and they're going to have a productive learning summer. So to you, I say thank you so much.
I would like to acknowledge that Leader Ryan has joined us on the meeting. Leader Ryan, please, Mr. Clerk, can you make sure the record
Council
reflects
President. Thank you.
that? My pleasure. Any other questions for the Councilwoman Anthony? Yes.
I would just like to say thank you, Council President. I would just like to say that this is a great presentation. I mean, it's so, I think it's going to be so important for our students to have these opportunities this summer. And I know how difficult it is to deliver those kind of services in light of the restrictions that we have in terms of social distancing and being safe. And I can't thank you enough for putting together this program. Critical that our students have the access to these programs this summer. So I'm excited and thrilled. So I'm thankful. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Anthony. Is Councilwoman LaFortune, are you? Councilwoman LaFortune, are you trying to comment? Because we cannot hear you.
Yeah, Council President. I'm happy to see how the programs have been transitioned majority of them. Can you hear me?
Better now. Still a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Try.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm glad to see that, you know, there have been a lot of thought that's put into the programs and that they're now have been transitioned to a majority of them online, which is great because one of my greatest concerns are Black and Brown kids, since COVID-19 has disproportionately impacted communities of color in such a great way. But I'm glad to see that, you know, these various groups have come together and groups that I, you know, love so much, including, and have seen the impact that they've had. So I'm glad that everyone has worked collaboratively to offer our students some sort of summer opportunity because, as we know, there is data that supports, summer students participating in summer programming and interventions and outcomes. With that said, what I would like to do, and I don't know if you're doing that right now, since I do love looking at data, it would be great to see some sort of statistical data that aligns with these interventions and how it has a direct impact on our students. Because I think when you're able to show that level of impact, that can also increase.
We lost your audio again.
Funding opportunities from outside sources.
Sean, is there anything you can do to address the audio?
If Councilwoman LaFortune would maybe be able to call in via phone, then we could have better audio.
Unfortunately, we're not able to understand.
I'll come right back. I'm going to call in as well. It might be easier.
She's gonna call back so we can continue in the meantime. Is there any other questions? Any other questions coming, Hillary?
Oh, I'm sorry, Hillary
Okay.
made as well, but I think we got a little bit of Councilwoman LaFortune's thoughts, and I don't know if Hillary wanted to first address.
Yeah, I wanted to share some thoughts. I think the accountability agenda is very important to us at PASA, and that we're all about metrics and measurement. But what I've really kind of said to my staff and colleagues, we are in new territory. And we're trying to make sure, one of the things that we've really heard from the youth, and we were part of a conference that the After School Network had last week, and we're in regular phone calls with young people weekly, hundreds of them. And they're really telling us that they need several things. They're zoomed out. Please don't keep putting more content on us. We need to connect with each other. We need people to hear us talking about coping with this pandemic. How is it that we are coping in our situations in our neighborhoods with this? Because the young people are really struggling mentally with this. They want to have time with each other to talk. They want to talk to caring adults. And our programs are going to be a way too to make those connections. And I think the other important thing is that we need to try to test, run, and simulate what virtual project-based learning looks like, where the kids go out, young people experiment, try stuff, programming, dance, sports, exercise, cooking, that it's related to family, and that we then get feedback from the youth so that we can offer up for the school department next year, if they're in lockdown, how is it that we fill the space between the content? Because we've got to get young people to exercise. We've got to get them to have a little bit of a conversation, go out and try something out, come back, chat with their colleagues, the adults that they know and they feel safe with. So we're really experimenting with this space, and we're going to really, at PASA, we want to invest in this team to spend time debriefing with the youth and families to figure out what do we carry into the school year. So I know that our team can't do recovering learning loss in an experiment like this. Hopefully that'll be the indirect consequences of it. But what I think is more important is we figure out how to really motivate learners in new ways using virtual tools that are safe. And that's going to be a challenge. So I think we have to experiment with each other this summer so we can lift ourselves into the whole year and help the school system, as well as the youth and the
family. Thank you, Hillary.
Struggling.
Thank you. Councilwoman LaFortune. I'm sorry, there's someone else. That number 0071. Is that? Oh, that's you. Okay. So yeah. Councilwoman LaFortune, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Hillary, for the information that you provided. And I think it's overall, it's both statistical data, both qualitative and quantitative, because even if it's a trial run and, we've been offering these programs, this is not the first summer that we've offered them. But I just think it's really important to look at the information to see, again, what type of impact, whether it's summer learning loss, whether it's impact where students are feeling like this program is providing them with a voice. It's developing certain critical skills such as advocacy, because with everything that's happening right now, I think students are, one, looking for space to have these very difficult conversations, one, recognizing various forms of inequities that exist within our communities, three, also learning how to hone all of that in and create platforms for themselves so that they could self-advocate for resources, and to elevate issues that matter to them in their community. And I think all of these programs help with that. You know, I've gone through, you know, multiple summer programs in Providence, from the Artemis Project, Brown Summer High School, Crusaders program, et cetera, the rec center pools, Buckland, pool during the summers, and the free lunch programs, but all those programs have contributed to the person that I am today. So I think it's really important to capture that. And again, when it comes down to funding, I think the collaborative approach is important. We're seeing more models like that because they're more, there's greater efficacy. But more importantly, we need to see how these programs, whether it's qualitative or quantitative data, how it impacts the students and what types of skills students are developing. But again, just thank you for your efforts. And I know I pushed a little bit, and I'm happy that, and other council members, really asked some tough questions, but I'm really happy that you all took the time to really think about how to provide young people with an experience, but acknowledging the various challenges that come with it. So thank you for taking on that challenge and doing the work that you do.
Gotta do it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I just want to do I know, Diana, you want to jump in. I want to do a time check. I'm hoping that we can finish this meeting by 5:20 so the clerk has enough time to get ready for the next one and all of us can jump in. I have a question and maybe you can answer. Have you been able to, were you already planning on, or have you been able to adapt your programs, all of you, to address the inequalities and racism, especially after everything that's going on right now? So I don't know if you're able to speak to that.
So,
Diana?
I want to take that question. I know that this was brought up previously by Councilwoman LaFortune to us in terms of who we're serving. So we're happy to share prior numbers in terms of those demographics or programs from prior years. I think we'll have to still determine how that comes together for this summer. But I also want to just quickly to the Councilwoman's concerns of data. Just starting particularly in our summer learning program, they are performance-based contracts. And we do have reports from prior years. So I'd be happy to share that with the council so you can see some of the gains from our prior summer investment. And I'll open it up to the group to talk about addressing the inequities, because I think the program partners are best served to answer that question.
And let me just add a little bit more. It's not beyond who you're serving, it's the context of what you're serving. Have you updated the context of the information based on what's happened? Thanks. So I don't know who wants to be next. I see Cheryl. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have a complete answer for that, but I will share that what I saw last summer with the PVD Young Makers, the way they worked with the students from the OEO is that they used a design thinking process to think about how they wanted to improve their communities, what were the issues that they cared about. And so they actually, the youth, and what with the OEO asks for is real evidence of what the youth learned. And so we were able at the library to produce a booklet about what the students were concerned about and the solutions that they came up with. So an example was, issues with policing. And so the students designed a new police badge that had a camera built in and a recording device, and they expressed their concern and they came up with a solution. And they also dealt with food insecurity, climate change. So they identified the issue, they got into teams, and then they actually used the prototyping equipment. I do know that Francesca Del Prete, who's not here today, who's our library person in charge of PVD Young Makers, has been talking with the interns about the incidents of this week. Many of the youth are extremely distressed, and she's been giving them space to talk among themselves and is absolutely using that to frame what they're going to be talking about, what they're going to be working on, and what they're going to be doing with the 2D design, the 3D design, and the entrepreneurship. It's very much related to what the youth are talking about. So if that's helpful, I just wanted to share the past experience. And I know these are the same people that are going to be working on this this coming summer.
Yeah. Council President, this is Mike Stevens.
Robert? Oh, Mike Stevens? Mike Stevens, go ahead.
Yes. Just real quick, I just want to let you know the tough thing it was really unfortunate what happened on Monday. And the tough thing is since March, our rec centers haven't been open. And we would have definitely hit a lot of those kids if the rec centers been open, and we could have probably had a lot of damage control before any of that incident would have happened with some of our Providence kids. So what I had them do is call their recreation, all the kids in their recreation department that goes to the rec centers, give them a call and ask them, do they need any help? Do they need to talk to somebody? So they did that this week, and they reached out to a lot of the kids that go to their rec centers on Wednesday. I had them give them a call. And the most important thing that I think that is very important is two things. One is making sure that kids are having fun. They're enjoying and having fun this summer. That's so important right now because they've been cooped up in their house, and we got to make sure they're having fun. The second thing is making sure we have an ability to give summer jobs. If we don't give summer jobs, I don't know where these kids are going to be at this summer. I don't know what neighborhoods they're going to be in this summer. So summer jobs is very important. And I think them are things that's important for us to make sure we put in on the top list, because we need to save these kids. They are struggling. They are trying to find themselves. So I know it's important for the recreation department to take a step up and making sure that we reach out and we find out and help them to be able to take their frustration and their anger and try to change it to something positive. So the summer jobs is so important. And I just wanted to say that to you. And I know how much me and you had that conversation, Council President, and it's really important. And I'll tell you, as a Black man, as a director, I'm very nervous, and I've never been nervous. I'm more nervous now as a director of this department to making sure that our kids are safe and that we give the opportunity for them to blossom. So that's just something I want to let you know.
Yeah, and I'll also say
Thank you.
To the
Colleen?
Yes.
Just 1 second. I just want to acknowledge, because I didn't do it earlier, that Councilwoman Miller is also with us. Thank you, Councilwoman Miller. Colleen, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Council President. So I also, in the Office of Economic Opportunity, we also do mandate that all of our program providers that we're giving dollars to have some type of cultural competencies embedded in their curriculum and in their designs. We ask all of our providers and all the organizations that we fund, like, what is the staff training that you provide to your own staff that are going to be with our youth around diversity? In terms of our demographics from last year, 87% of all of the young people that came through our program were children of color. And we really know that our summer jobs program in particular is one huge pipeline to really create more equitable communities here in the city of Providence. And so we're really intentional and purposeful about that. We also ask all of our program providers, what languages can your staff fully accommodate? Not just like, we need to make sure that our young people, like, if they can only speak predominantly one language, that if they're showing up to work at a location, that there is someone there to accommodate them at any time that they are on site, not just for 5 or 10 minutes or 30 minutes, but the full time that they're there. And that's really a priority for us. In our office, we know that young people of color are disproportionately impacted by the criminal justice system. And so that's why we purposely fund organizations like the Institute for the Study and Practice of Nonviolence, to working with formerly gang-involved young people to help them get into careers that they won't necessarily have to turn back to the streets. And this summer, we're also launching programs in partnership with Skills for Rhode Island's Future to work with court-involved young people that are actually exiting the Rhode Island Training School, and putting them into online-based internships with private employers, so that they won't have to go back to the streets and they don't have to make tough decisions about how to make money, but they can really just rely on like a really safe and reliable source of income through the job trainings that they've received through our programs.
Thank you, Colleen. So I know, Christy, so you're going to be our last one because we're already a little late for the meeting. But I just want to give you some opportunity. Christy?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that while I know that the bulk of the meals that we serve in the summertime are to the children in our enrolled sites, and they're not going to be at the sites this summer. Most of it's going to be virtual. So we are still working with all of those program providers, with the OEO office and the summer learning. I'm in touch with all of those people so that they can make sure to advertise to the kids that are in their programs virtually which open site is closest to them. So we are still making sure that the food access is advertised and known.
Great. All right, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Thank you for all this information. Sean, can you please share the presentation with the council members to make sure that they get a copy of it? And thank you, all of you, for the information. If the council members after want to hear more, we're going to be in contact with you. It's easier for us to set up this type of meeting to make sure we're not in violation of any open meetings laws in case more than 8 council members wants to join or more than 3 from the same committee wants to join the conversation. So stay tuned. Okay? Thank you so much, all. With that, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Madam President.
Second. Is a second? Okay, the motion. Thank you. The motion to adjourn has been placed. And second, all those in favor?
Aye.